Welcome to Quiet Psychology. Let me ask you something you might not have put into words yet. Why do you keep pulling the same kind of people into your life? Different face, same feeling. Why do you find yourself scanning for approval, as if someone else's yes is the only thing that makes you real? Why does it feel like no matter how much you do, it's never quite enough? And happiness always stays just a little out of reach. If you've been stuck in relationships that quietly damage you, if you keep waiting for validation, if you keep giving more and still feel empty, it's not because something is wrong with you. It's because a part of you is still waiting for the love that the little girl or the little boy inside you never fully received. You're still looking in other people for what you didn't get when you were small. You're still trying to earn love, because at some point you learned that love was something you had to deserve. You keep allowing what hurts you, because deep down you think it's normal. But today, that ends. Men and women repeat the same childhood wounds over and over, without even realizing it. And I want to remind you of Carl Jung's famous words: "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." This video is here to make you conscious, because it's going to reach into the deepest part of you. I'm going to show you why that old wound is still controlling your relationships, your self-worth, and the way you treat yourself. And most importantly, I'll teach you how to heal, how to break the cycle, and how to reclaim the self-love that was always supposed to be yours. Stay with me until the end, because when you finish this video, you're going to look at yourself through different eyes. For the first time, you'll understand something clearly. The problem was never you. And if you think someone you know needs to hear this, please share it with them. Trust me, you can't imagine the weight they might finally be able to put down. Now listen closely, my strong-minded friend. The way you were treated as a child is the way you treat yourself today. Pause for a moment and really think about that. Now, I want you to imagine a little girl standing in front of a mirror. At the beginning, she has no doubt about her worth. She doesn't question whether she deserves love. She doesn't wonder if she's enough, or if she needs to perform to be chosen. She simply is. She laughs, she cries, she speaks, she feels, she expresses what's inside her without fear. And then one day, someone gives her a hard look and says, "Stop being so loud." Another day, she cries, and she gets ignored. Or she's told, "Don't cry over something stupid." Or she tries to share her excitement, and someone shuts it down. "Not now." And slowly, without even noticing, she begins to change. She starts believing her emotions are a problem. She learns that if she wants acceptance, she should stay quiet. If she wants love, she must behave a certain way. And at some point, she stops looking at herself with tenderness. So tell me, could that little girl be you? Because what happens to you in childhood doesn't disappear when you grow up. It stays with you. And without realizing it, you begin to treat yourself the way you were treated. If you were made to feel like you weren't enough, you still feel that today. If you were taught to doubt your worth, you still wait for someone else to confirm it. if you learned that love must be earned through sacrifice, you still give everything, hoping someone will finally choose you. And the worst part? Most of the time, you don't even realize you're operating from that wound. You just keep repeating the cycle. You stay in relationships where you feel you have to prove your value. You keep accepting less than you deserve, because deep down, it feels familiar. You keep searching outside for the love no one taught you how to give yourself. And until you see it clearly, you'll stay stuck in a story you never consciously chose. Because the way you love yourself today wasn't something you decided. It was something you learned. Look at yourself. Look at how you react when someone rejects you. Look at the way you talk to yourself when you make a mistake. Look at how you feel when you see your reflection. Every word, every thought, every insecurity. You weren't born with those. They were taught to you. When you were very small, too young to understand, your mind absorbed everything without question. And the love you received back then became the measuring stick you still use today. If you grew up watching your mother settle for crumbs of affection, you may still be drawn to the same kind of love. If you learned that you had to please everyone to be loved, you may still lose yourself to avoid being abandoned. If you felt invisible no matter what you did, you may still stay in relationships where you're not truly seen. Because how they treated you became how you treat you. And until you change it, you will keep accepting the same thing again and again. This is the story you keep repeating. Let me tell you something. There was once a little girl who grew up in a home where love was conditional. When she brought home good grades, she was praised. When she was well behaved, she got attention. When she did what others wanted, she was accepted. But when she showed up as she truly was, when she had a bad day, when she needed comfort, when she was imperfect, when she needed love without performing for it, all she received was coldness, distance, indifference. That girl grew up. But no matter how many years passed, she kept searching for the same pattern in her relationships. She was drawn to people who made her feel small, because that was the only kind of love she understood. She stayed with those who ignored her, because in her nervous system, that felt normal. She fought to be chosen, because she learned early that love wasn't a right. It was something you had to earn. So tell me, could that girl be you? If you still feel like you have to be special to be loved, if you keep chasing relationships that make you feel not enough, if you keep believing the problem is you, that if you changed, if you were prettier, quieter, easier, less intense, then you would finally be loved. Then yes, that girl is still living inside you, and until you heal her, you will stay trapped in the same cycle. You'll keep looking outside yourself for the love you never received. Now here's the question that exposes everything. Why is it so hard to let go of someone who doesn't want you? Why do you keep holding on to relationships where you feel insufficient? Why does a moment of attention from someone make you feel valuable again? Because it's not really you reacting. It's the child in you, still searching for the love they never got. It's your most vulnerable self, waiting for someone to finally see them. Finally choose them. Finally make them feel important. And here's the most painful truth, but also the most freeing one. No one can give your inner child what they didn't receive back then. You can find an amazing partner, someone genuinely loving, someone consistent, someone kind, and still, if you haven't healed, you can feel empty. Because what was missing in childhood doesn't get filled by external love alone. It gets filled when you decide to stop repeating the story. Emotional attachment, when it becomes desperate and painful, is often a search for childhood love. Think about it. As a child, all you wanted was to feel safe, loved, protected, chosen. But if you didn't get that, your mind built survival strategies. Maybe you learned to be agreeable because you believed if you pleased people, they wouldn't leave. Maybe you learned to be strong and act like you don't need anyone because no one was there when you did. Maybe you started idealizing anyone who gave you a little attention because that felt like the closest thing to love. And today, you still pick relationships where you have to prove your worth. You confuse intensity with love. You chase emotionally unavailable people because they activate the same old wound. This is not random. This is not coincidence. If love felt unpredictable in childhood, warm one day, cold the next, then unstable relationships may feel familiar now. If you learned you had to do something extraordinary to be noticed, you may chase approval through love, success, and constant achievement. If you felt hard to love, you may accept the bare minimum, because deep down, you don't believe you deserve more. But the real question is, how long? How many more years will you replay the same story? How many more times will you wait for someone to give you what no one taught you to give yourself? Because yes, she's still inside you, but now you are the one who has to look at her. You are the only person who can give your inner child what they always needed. Don't wait for your partner to do it. Don't wait for your family to do it. Don't wait for life to do it. Because if you keep waiting, you'll only end up in relationships where the same wound gets reopened over and over again. But the moment you decide to heal, the moment you stop moving from lack, the moment you stop begging the outside world to fill the inside, that's the moment the cycle breaks. That's the moment you become free. Free from your past. Free from emotional dependency. Free from repeating the same story again and again. Now, understanding is not enough. Saying, yes, my childhood affected my self-love, is not enough. You have to choose something new. You have to decide to stop treating yourself the way you were treated. If you were made to feel not enough, begin telling yourself every day, I am enough. If you were taught to doubt your worth, begin proving your worth to yourself through your choices, your boundaries, your standards. If no one taught you how to love you, then now you learn how. Because if you don't do it, no one will. Not your mother, not your father, not the partner you keep hoping will finally change. The only love that can heal that wound is the love you learn to give yourself. I know realizing this hurts. I know it's easier to believe that if someone came along and loved you enough, that emptiness would disappear. But if you keep waiting for someone to rescue you, you'll only recreate abandonment again and again. Healing your inner child isn't about blaming the past. It's about taking ownership of the present. Because unhealed wounds turn into chains that keep you tied to what happened. And the only way to truly become free is to accept this. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to fix you. No one is coming to give you what you didn't receive. The only person who can do that is you. You can give yourself the love that was missing. You can give yourself the approval you never received. You can become the safe place you always needed. And this isn't just theory. Let me tell you how to begin, because the last step is the most important. The only person who can heal your inner child is you. You can give them what they always needed, and when you truly understand that, your life changes forever. You were always enough. You just never said it to yourself with full belief. But today, here and now, that changes. So I want you to declare it in the comments. I am enough. Today, I am giving myself the love I have always needed. Write it. Confirm it. Let your mind absorb it, because it's true. And if this video gave you something, do what a strong-minded person does. Share it. Liking is free, and it helps us keep creating content like this. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you can subscribe to the channel to keep growing emotionally, becoming stronger, and learning how to let go.